Because she's a positive character, because she embraces life and she's adventurous, I think as an inspiration, that motivated audiences much more than normal. They directly related to her as a character. It wasn't just, oh, this is a show that I like. It was, I love her, I want to be her.
Phryne Fisher and the Crypt of Tears is an extension of Miss Fisher's murder mysteries.
It's set in 1929, like the original series. It's set in British-mandated Palestine, and it flashes back to a time in the First World War where there was a murder. Of course, it's a murder mystery that has to be uncovered by Miss Fisher, who goes on an adventure in the desert and in Jerusalem.
We needed a bigger world to have more suspects and really have a mystery to solve while we went on a romping kind of crazy adventure that was full of titillation and stupidity and naughtiness and action. And I always thought that the only place for that was a bigger storyscape, a 2-hour cinema version.
You know the quickest way to escape me?
Tie you up, dump you in that river.
Or you could help me with this case.
We formed Every Cloud Productions 10 years ago. We wanted to get something to production relatively quickly, so we were starting to research for a series of books we could turn into a television series. We wanted something that was female-led. I knew that crime sold well internationally, and we started the hunt for a book series. At that time, my mother was reading it and Deb's daughter Ivy was also reading it. That was Kerry Greenwood's books called the Phryne Fisher Murder Mystery Series. So we knew that that was a property that appealed to a broad range of women, so we obtained the option for the books.
We weren't interested in contemporary gritty crime. Most of the things we do have an edge of humour to them. We wanted to be more playful and to say something about the world. And when we discovered Phryne Fisher as the heroine, we thought she's perfect. She's out there, she's independent, she has an incredibly buoyant, optimistic attitude to the world and to life.
Bravo, Phryne. You always were my greatest defender.
She has no respect for the rules.
That's because they tend to be written by men.
Recreating a period drama, whether it is in the television series, either the original Miss Fisher or Miss Fisher Mod, which is set in '64, or in the Crypt of Tears, it's the combination of your director of photography, your production designer, your locations, and special effects. The approach of the world has also helped, where we try and find a fantastic location that's very evocative of the time period we're in, and then set most of it in that location.
And from the scripting side of things, it's that balance between letting your imagination come up with things, but also not being ridiculous. You know, with the Miss Fisher books, there was a book set on an ocean liner. Well, that was discounted immediately as impossible. But other things, sometimes things that you think are too ambitious and impossible to pull off, like in the feature film. In discussions with the director and with production, you find a way to do it. So there's always compromises. And from the moment the concept evolves in the plotting room, you have to be thinking, is this a world that can work for us? Can we find it? Can we set enough story there? Is it the kind of world that suits murder? Because, you know, it has to be mysterious in some way.
Stop or I'll shoot! Who are you? Tell me or I'll pull this trigger!
The international audience has been crucial for us on so many fronts. One of them was motivational, because when the series went to the world, it garnered this incredibly passionate fan base. So as the audience built and started communicating with us, and we looked to doing the feature, we thought, they're a resource for us. We can tap into it. So the minute we hinted that we were doing a feature film, it just spread like wildfire. So that's what motivated us to do the crowdfunding.
One of the big questions for when you go from television to feature is why will people pay? And I think what the crowdfunding showed is that the fans are willing to part with their cash. They want part of the experience, and that is, you know, whether it's in the cinema or the television, they will come.
So when we put it out there that we were trying to crowdfund this, it felt more like a kind of shared challenge that they were taking on with us. And the feedback we had from them about personal stories about Miss Fisher was all part of the journey. So it was very inspirational for us. Once we started it, we actually couldn't not do it.
With the crowdfunding, part of one of the rewards was to come in and be in the series. About 60 people from all over the world, having them attend and for the cast and crew to see how much the show meant to these people was a great morale booster. You know, you really felt like what you're doing mattered. So we really respect our fans.
I really hope it has a great life, the Crypt of Tears, because we did everything we could to make it cinema worthy.